with that, we'll go ahead and get started with Coach Wilcox's Tuesday media availability. Please let me know in the chat if you have a question, and we'll get going. We will get started with Jeff Parado. Go ahead, Jeff.
Good morning, Justin. Can you give us an update on how you feel about the quarterback situation, what you're likely to do this week, and who you expect might start?
Yep. It's a work in progress. I think we all know that. Between Ben and Sam, they each have about, roughly 2 games under their belt for us to evaluate. We got to continue to get better at that position, like a lot of positions. Ben was not able to practice today. We expect him to be able to practice tomorrow. That's the goal. So Sam and Fernando took the reps today, and we'll continue to evaluate that throughout the week.
Okay, we'll go to Jake Curtis, and we'll keep it to a single question on the first round and then entertain follow-ups after that. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. How is this situation similar or different from 2018? And what did you learn from that situation?
How is it similar or different? 2018, let's see here. You're talking about when Brandon McElwain and Chase were playing. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Another, kind of stretch of games where you're trying to get some stability going at that quarterback position. And you do the best you can to eval throughout spring and fall camp. And ultimately the evaluation comes during the games because there's just really no way to replicate that environment. Whether it's the speed, the intensity, it's live. And we even did some live this fall, the crowd, the noise, managing the game, all those decision-making things that come up. So we've got, 4 games to evaluate now. I think both those guys at their best can be good players. We just have to get much more consistent at that position and operating the offense and moving the team down the field. But I guess it's similar because there's multiple quarterbacks that are being evaluated because we don't have at that position right now. We don't have a clear number one.
Okay, we'll go to Steve Kroner with the San Francisco Chronicle.
Morning, Justin. I know in the bottom line, whether you lose by 1 point or you lose by 30, a loss is a loss. But going forward after a loss, how is it different, say, after the Auburn game, a game where you guys, for the most part, played well and probably should have won, as opposed to going to it after a game like Saturday nights where you really were not in the game? How does the next week go?
Well, you look at the game and you take the lessons from the game. And as much as you want to distance yourself from that, the day after, you can't, because there's so many lessons to be learned. And in this past game, the importance, as we all know, of starting the game well and starting fast against everybody, and especially against a team like that, that we've got to avoid the critical errors that put us in a hole, because at that point it was just, as we saw, we never really were able to claw back in it. It wasn't a matter of want to. The guys want to do well, but we have to, eliminate those critical errors and then make more, one-on-one and contested plays so we give ourselves a chance to compete and win the game. And we did not do that really at any phase.
Okay, we'll go to Kellen Levy with Cal TV.
Coach, the discussion has kind of been in the news and media recently. There's been safety concerns regarding synthetic turf playing surfaces. Do you or any of your coaching staff have any concerns about either the playing surfaces at Cal Memorial Stadium or any of the other stadiums you anticipate playing at this season in your Pac-12 competition?
I know that obviously that's been in the media lately. I think we're for whatever's best for the players. I know in the past 2 decades, the playing surfaces have changed a lot, and I'm sure there's technology involved, and I'm sure there's data. I don't have that data in front of me. We would be able to maybe get some of that for you. For the longest time, the game was played on grass, and then then it went to this AstroTurf, which I played on, and that was even. I mean, that's kind of like some carpet on top of cement. So they got rid of that, which is a good thing. And now we're on to the synthetic turfs. And I know not every synthetic field is the same. And so I'm sure there's a lot of work being done. We're used to playing on them. And at the end of the day, we're for whatever's best for the players. But I don't have the data in front of me.
Okay, we'll move on to Jeff Ferrato. Or I'm sorry, ask if anybody else has a first round question first. Okay, we'll move on to Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, you referenced the injury with Ben not being able to practice yet today. Can you update us on other injuries that you're dealing with?
Xavier, we expect to play. Tron, we expect to play. Justin Williams-Thomas has now joined us in practice. Taj Davis is day-to-day. Those would be the ones.
And Vadakani is okay?
Yes.
And Justin Williams-Thomas, what's his timetable for maybe getting into a game?
We'll see. This was his first week of practice. First time I've seen him in pads since he's been here. So we got to get him up to speed, and we'll see how quickly we can do that.
And if we can go back to the quarterback situation real quick, you talked about how, you really can only tell how they perform when they're in the game. Given the little amount of time that you've gotten Sam on the field, in his career, does it make more sense to give him a little bit more leash in the game so you can find out how he responds?
Yeah, I mean, we have about 2 games right now, and he's done some good things. Obviously a lot of room for growth, and I have confidence that Sam can be a good player, and he's just got to continue to, develop at that position. He just is pretty young in that process, and we got to work with him day in and day out, and game in and game out, and we want to do what's right for him. Ultimately, we got to do what we think is best for our team, and I think he can improve week to week, and so we'll see where this week goes and how this thing shakes out. But I know it's a hot topic, and it's a hot topic for us. We believe that those guys can be good players, and we got to continue to work with them and then see the development on the field.
And where does Fernando fit into any of this? And is it too complicated to insert a third person into the rotation?
Well, that's a great question. And Fernando's done some good things. Again, we got him, each of those guys during fall camp, probably, 500 reps or so of 11 on 11. And so it sorted out the way it did. It is hard to rep 3 quarterbacks in a game week practice. We are still evaluating that. He took a number of reps today. I think Fernando has a upside as well. They're all just fairly inexperienced, and we got to continue to just be more consistent at that position and move the team down the field and put the ball in the end zone and protect the football.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Jake Curtis.
Yeah, it appears you've made a change at place kicker. Why so?
We felt like giving Mateen an opportunity to kick PATs and field goals is deserved, and we'll have Michael continue to kick off for us.
Okay. Are there other questions for Coach? If so, please let me know quickly in the chat. Okay. Oh, it looks like I'm sorry. Steve Croner. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Justin, you're going against Drew Pine, whom you faced last year at Notre Dame. What did you learn about him in South Bend, and what do you take from that into Saturday's game?
Yeah, he was a starting quarterback at Notre Dame. As you mentioned, we played against him. He's a good football player. He can distribute the ball. He gets himself, he can extend the play. He's a gamer. You see that in him. He's kind of he's got that gamer baller gene, it looks like. And so he's a good football player. We had a lot of respect for him last year. We do this year. And you can see, he makes the plays that they want him to make, and then he can extend the play and get the ball to a guy off a scramble or run it in himself.
And we'll go back to Jeff Verano.
Justin, can you talk about how Brett Johnson is doing? He's started all 4 games, and I know an interior lineman's value is not based solely on stats, but he doesn't even have any stats. Doesn't have a tackle yet. Is he playing well? Is he coming along really slowly, maybe more so than you thought, or how would you evaluate how he's played?
I wouldn't say that he's coming along slowly. I think he's noticeable when he's in there. Obviously, last week we didn't affect the QB or the run game at any position. They're a very talented team, and they beat us really at every position last week. I think Brett does show up on tape. I mean, I could show you clips. I think we talked about the first week he didn't have a tackle, but he caused 2 holding calls, which basically extinguished drives. And then against Idaho, that was noticeable again, where the quarterback, they had a really hard time blocking him. Their center did, and he would maybe force the quarterback to get out of the pocket or throw the ball earlier than he wanted to. And so his presence has been felt, and I'm sure he'd like to have more stats, and I would expect those to come.
Is he the player at this point that you thought he might be, or is it understandable if he's not maybe where he was before the injuries happened? Yeah,
it was 2 years since he played football, and he had 2 significant injuries. We're not talking about a sprained ankle. Like, we had 2 significant injuries that he's battled back from. So considering that, I think he's doing a good job. I think Brett's going to continue to get better and better, but I think it would be difficult to, compare anybody to themselves after going through what he went through. I think I'm impressed with what he's doing, considering the circumstances. I think he's going to continue to play better and better, but I am not down on how he's playing at all. I think he's doing a good job, and we're kind of been in that 25 rep range with Brett in the first 4 games, and we'll see how that changes or doesn't change moving forward.
And can you tell us a little bit more about Mateen Bagani in terms of his range and just, a lot of what a place kicker has to do with his mental makeup, and you've referenced that in the past. How is he in terms of confidence and what's your confidence in him?
Well, I think all those guys are confident. That's why they play that position. It's such a, that thing is, there's so much rhythm involved, and being in rhythm is key, and being able to replicate that leg swing and that stroke, regardless of the circumstance, is everything. And I think, he's earned the right since he's been here this fall. He's earned the right to go out there and have an opportunity to kick PATs and field goals. And I feel good about him. He's done a good job thus far, and he had a really good day today, and I would expect that to continue. So as we've talked about this before, I mean, that position, the rhythm is key, and being able to replicate that stroke. And I'm looking forward to him getting his opportunity.
And with Michael Luckhurst, I know that you've seen a lot of good stuff in practice from him. Does he remain in the mix in terms of having a chance to win the spot back? And what does he have to do for that to happen?
Yeah, like every position, we're always working to improve, and so that's what we want Michael to focus on right now. He's still going to kick off for us, but he kicked today. He kicked field goals today as well, and we're just going to continue to work on his rhythm and taking the field and hitting that thing with confidence and belief. And so we're going to continue doing that with him, absolutely. And what would it take? I mean, we'll see. The performance has everything to do with it. And so we'll see how these guys continue to progress from this week moving forward.
How's he handled, the struggles he's faced so far?
I think he's battled, absolutely battled. He did not, he did not quit. And he went out there and competed and gave us effort. Unfortunately, it's just rhythm's off a bit right now. So we're going to work with him to continue to get that back so he can become the player that we believe he can be.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll ask again, please, everybody mute if you're on this call. We'll go to Thomas Dunn.
Good morning, Justin. Apologies if you already answered something in this vein, but what do the versatile skill position players for ASU and Cameron Scadaboo and Elijah Badger show you on tape? Because they seem like a lot to handle in a multitude of ways. Yeah,
they move them around. They use those guys a lot of different ways. You mentioned the running back is a talented guy. He's thrown passes. I mean, he threw a pass on 4th and 5 or 4th and 7 in their own territory last week for a first down. They put him in Wildcat and run it. He can do a lot of different things. Badger, the number 2, they got weapons. They're playing a fair amount of transfers as well. The tight end is a very good player, number 12. They use him a lot of different ways. They get him the ball down the field. They get him the ball in the screen game. So they find ways to get their playmakers the ball, and they do it with a bunch of formations and motions, and they do a good job with it.
Thank you.
There we go. Jeff Ferrato. And then if anybody else does have a question, please let us know in the chat now. Go ahead, Jeff.
Justin, they had really struggled offensively the previous 2 weeks, and then to score 28 points against USC. What was your impression of how much they improved?
Yeah, I think they have weapons. As we've seen game to game, a lot can change. The dynamics of the game, there's a lot that goes into all that. But ultimately, they put up more points. They move the ball. They've been very aggressive. They've been very aggressive, whether it's 4th downs or fake punts or onside kicks this season. And they are multi-formational personnel groupings, motions, things like that. So they're getting a lot of different players involved, and they do it out of a lot of different looks. And last week they moved the ball well and put it in the end zone quite often against a very talented team.
And you sort of know their 2 offensive coaches. Dillingham was at Oregon last year as the OC, and of course, Bo Baldwin. Does that help you in any way, or are they still a kind of an unknown can of worms? Yeah,
I would. Both those guys are really good coaches. Kenny has done a great job on offense. Bo is a heck of an offensive coach. So they'll have a good plan. That's not the question. I think maybe it gets overstated once you have either worked with somebody or competed against somebody that all of a sudden every play. Well, you don't know when they're going to run them, even if you knew what the plays were. I mean, we practice against ourselves every day, and one side of the ball wins a given play, and they see each other every day. So I think that's probably overstated. Obviously, there's certain things they like to do that's shown up on tape, but our job is going to be, play really good fundamental defense and have great leverage and run to the football and tackle well and win some one-on-ones in the run and pass game. And that's what it'll take to play well against these guys, because they're a talented outfit and they'll be well coached.